A boardroom. Seoul. The kind of room where silence is a weapon and everybody knows it. The table is long and glass-topped and cold in the way that expensive things are always cold. Floor-to-ceiling windows bleed gray morning light across the room. Everything is precise. Everything is arranged to communicate one thing above all else: control. And at one end of that table, hands wrapped around a coffee cup, face a closed door, eyes giving nothing away, sits Han Soo-jin. He is not checking his phone. He is not reviewing the brief in front of him. He is not making small talk with the three people sitting to his left who are pretending very hard to be busy with their laptops. He is doing the thing he does better than almost anything else in the world right now. He is waiting for someone to disappoint him. Across the table, a woman. We haven't seen her before. She arrived 2 minutes early, and she set her portfolio down on the table before anyone invited her to, which tells you something immediately. She is not performing nerves. She is not performing confidence either. She is just present, unhurried. She looks around the room once, the way someone does when they are genuinely curious about a space rather than sizing up a threat. Then she looks at Soo-jin. She holds the eye contact a beat longer than is expected. Then, without introduction, without preamble, she speaks. Her voice is calm, no performance in it at all. The kind of calm that comes from having absolutely nothing to prove. Anya, you keep looking at me like I'm about to disappoint you. Pause. Has everyone? Soo-jin goes still. Not cold, not defensive, not reaching for the boardroom face he's spent 15 years polishing to a surface so smooth nothing sticks to it. He doesn't do any of those things. He just, still, like she just said his name in a language he forgot he used to know. Like something very old and very quiet just moved in a room that has been locked for years. The people to his left stop pretending to type. Nobody breathes. Welcome to AfroSeoul cinema, where two worlds collide, one wound opens, and a love that doesn't announce itself quietly changes everything. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. Subscribe, hit like, drop a comment. Back to the main story. The Seoul skyline fills the frame from floor to ceiling glass. 15 floors of disciplined ambition. Han Structure Group, the kind of architectural firm that doesn't advertise because it doesn't need to. Every line of the building they occupy was designed to suggest permanence, gravity. The impression that whatever was built here was built to last. Han Soo-jin walks the office floor. He does not stroll. He does not check in with people. He moves through the space the way weather moves present, inevitable, and leaving no room for anything as wasteful as small talk. He has perfected the art of being in a room without being available to anyone in it. The staff nods as he passes, not warmly, respectfully, the way you acknowledge something powerful when it moves close to you. 2 junior architects step aside without being asked. A project manager, mid-sentence with a client on the phone, lowers her voice instinctively. An intern by the printer goes very still and does not make eye contact. He notices all of it. He has long since stopped caring about any of it. He built this company into a fortress over 15 years. The best structural architecture firm in Seoul. Some argue the best in the country. Buildings that have won awards. A reputation so solid it has survived 3 recessions and 1 very public falling out with a government contractor that everyone said would finish him. He built the company into a fortress, yes, and himself along with it. His assistant, Park Jae-ho, late 20s, efficient in the particular way of someone who has learned to read their employer's silences as carefully as their words falls into step beside him without being summoned. This took Ji-ho approximately 4 months to learn. He is proud of it. Park, Yi-ho. New client meeting in 20 minutes, sir. Cultural Arts Space Commission, the Magok District Development. International designer. She flew in from Lagos by way of London. Sujin doesn't look up from the brief in his hand. Sujin, send the project lead. A pause, small, barely there. Jiho has learned to read those too. Park, Yeho. She specifically requested you, sir, by name. She said, checks phone. She said she did her research. Sujin stops walking. Not because the statement surprised him, because something in it landed with a weight he wasn't expecting. And he has learned, slowly, painfully, to notice when something lands with weight. He doesn't turn around. He doesn't ask Jiho to elaborate. He just stands there for a moment with the brief still open in his hands, and something passes across his face too quickly to name. First signal. She came prepared. She chose him deliberately. She could have had her pick of project leads. His firm has 7 who are excellent, 2 who are better than excellent. She wanted him specifically. She did her research, and she still wanted him. He doesn't say anything. He closes the brief. He walks toward the boardroom. The meeting room fills up. Architects, a project manager, 2 junior associates with laptops open and expressions of careful professional neutrality. Jiho has set out water and the good coffee, which means he took the request seriously. Sujin appreciates that without saying so. He takes his seat at the head of the table, opens the brief, reads 3 lines of it. The door opens, and Anya walks in. No nerves. She sets her portfolio on the table before anyone invites her to flat, decisive, like she's done this 100 times and found the ceremony around it to be mostly noise. She looks around the room once with what appears to be genuine curiosity. She clocks the layout, the people, the quality of the light through the windows. Then she looks at Sujin. Direct, unhurried, like she has all the time in the world and has chosen to spend some of it looking at him. She opens her portfolio. The pitch begins. The vision is bold. It's culturally rooted in a way that most international designers are too cautious to attempt. She knows the Magok district's history, its demographics, the specific tension between what the neighborhood was and what the development is trying to make it into. She has an opinion about that tension. She does not hide the opinion. She has done research that goes 3 levels deeper than what the brief required, and she references specific buildings in Seoul by address, not just by name. The room is impressed. Several people in it are trying not to show it. Then she turns a page in her portfolio and looks directly at Sujin for the first time since sitting down. Anya, your Mappo build had Seoul until the 3rd floor. I want to know what stopped you there. The room tightens. It is a very specific kind of tightening, the kind that happens when someone has just said something that everyone in the room knows is true and nobody has ever said out loud before. 2 associates exchange a micro glance. The project manager stops typing. Nobody asks Han Sujin what stopped him. Not in this building. Not in any room he enters in Seoul's architectural world. The Mappo build won 2 awards. To suggest it fell short of something requires a specific kind of fearlessness that most people in his orbit have long since edited out of themselves in his presence. Sujin looks at her for the first time. Really looks. The way he looks at load-bearing structures searching for where the weight actually lives. He doesn't answer the question. He closes his portfolio. Sujin, you have the contract. No explanation, no committee review, no we'll be in touch. The room is confused, several people visibly so. He's already walking out. Flashback 1, the man he was. The city is loud below them, but up here it's just wind and light. Sujin is sitting on the ledge, not careful, not controlled. Relaxed in a way his body has completely forgotten how to be. Yuna is laughing at something he said. Real laughter. He's watching her like she's the most interesting thing Seoul has ever produced. He reaches over, tucks her hair back from her face. She catches his hand, holds it against her cheek. Yuna, you're staring again. Sujin, I know. Yuna. It's weird. Sujin, quietly. I don't care. She laughs again. He smiles full, unguarded, completely open. The kind of smile that has no armor in it. Back to present. Sujin alone in his office, the city behind him. He doesn't know what his face was doing just now, but the camera caught it, and whatever warmth flickered there disappears the moment the presence snaps back around him. Like it was never there. Like it has been a long time since it was there. The first working session. Sujin sends a junior architect named Chaewon, who is excellent and also is not Sujin, which Anya notices within approximately 4 minutes. That afternoon, at 4:47 p.m., his phone rings. Office line, direct. Anya, Chaewon is very good. I'm sure she's your best junior architect, but we said you'd be present in the working sessions. Was that a miscommunication or a decision? Sujin leans back in his chair. He lets the question sit for a moment. He is considering, with some private interest, that she called the main office line instead of emailing, and that she is asking him to account for himself without raising her voice or performing offense. Sujin. A decision. He says it cleanly. He is waiting for the negotiation, for the softening, for the pivot to accommodation. It doesn't come. Anya. Okay. Then I'll need to reconsider the partnership. I have options. She hangs up first. Sujin stares at the phone in his hand. The line is dead. He looks at it the way you look at something that has briefly demonstrated it is more interesting than you assumed. Nobody hangs up first. Not on this number, not in this building, not in the 15 years he has been running this company and making the kind of decisions that other people have to rearrange their lives around. She did not negotiate. She did not ask again. She stated a position, and she left the call. He sits with that for approximately 90 seconds. Then he picks up his jacket. He shows up to the next session himself. They start working. Really working. Sujin and Anya in the project space blueprints across the work table. Site photographs pinned to the wall in rough chronological order. 2 laptops open and a coffee that has been cold for an hour that neither of them has touched. They disagree about almost everything structural. They agree about everything that matters. She doesn't fill silence with noise. This is the first thing he registers about her that has no professional explanation. Most people, when working with him, fill every silence. They explain, they narrate their thinking, they perform the labor of their process for his benefit. Anya lets silence sit. She lets it do its job. She doesn't seem to experience quiet as a vacuum that must be filled. It unnerves him more than anything she could say. He is not accustomed to silence feeling like company. He makes a structural call on the load-bearing wall on the east side of the space. It's the right call, technically. He knows this before he finishes saying it. She knows it too, which is why what happens next is not an argument. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't perform frustration. She pulls up her structural data, quiet, methodical, and sets her laptop in front of him. Then she sets the site photographs beside it. Then she is quiet. Anya, you're right about the load. Pause. You're wrong about the feel. A beat. Long enough to matter. Sujin looks at the data. Looks at the photographs. Looks at the wall dimensions she's sketched in pencil on the margin of the blueprint, not erased and redrawn, just written cleanly in the margin as if she was certain. He looks at her. She has already turned back to her own notes. She is not watching him consider her position. She is not performing the waiting. She is just working. Like she said what she said because it was true, and now the conversation has moved on. He changes the design. He doesn't tell her she was right. She doesn't need him to. She doesn't even glance up from her notes when his pencil moves. The tension here isn't romantic yet. It is something older and stranger than that two people recognizing in each other a kind of fluency they've been speaking into silence for so long. They'd half convinced themselves it was just their own private language. The recognition is disconcerting. It is also, quietly, a relief. Late evening. The office has emptied out an hour ago. The kind of quiet that makes large rooms feel larger and lonelier than they are the ventilation system. The distant sound of the city, 20 floors down. The particular quality of light from screens in an otherwise unlit space. Soo-jin is still at his desk. Third consecutive evening. He is reviewing subcontractor bids that could have been reviewed at 9 in the morning if he had been trying to go home. He is not trying to go home. He stopped trying to go home to the apartment some months ago. It is a very good apartment, and it is very quiet. And the quiet there is a different kind than the quiet here, and he does not examine this distinction closely. He has also, without deciding to, skipped dinner again. He registered hunger at some point around 6 and filed it under "not important right now" and kept working. Anya is across the room at the portable drafting table they've set up in the project space. She's been there since 4. She has been working with the particular focus of someone for whom the problem is genuinely interesting, not just professionally necessary. She gets up, goes to her bag, a large canvas, one that lives in the corner of the project space now, which neither of them has commented on. She takes something out. She comes back past his desk. She sets a takeout container down in front of him. No look of significance, no pause, no waiting for him to register it. She sets it down and walks straight back to her drafting table and picks up her pencil and keeps working. Soo-jin looks at the container, looks at her. She is not watching him. She is not waiting for gratitude or acknowledgement. She has already moved on. The food is still warm. Korean his from the place 2 blocks down that he likes and has never mentioned to her. He does not know how she knows this and decides, after a moment, not to ask. Some things lose their quality when you ask them to explain themselves. He eats. That's all. It is a small thing. It is so small that if you described it to someone, he ate the food she brought, she kept working, they didn't speak, it would sound like nothing. But the camera holds on his face long enough to catch what happens there. Something moved behind his eyes. Something shifted. Like a room that has been dark for a long time, where someone has quietly, without ceremony, turned on a light. Flashback to what she did to him. Their apartment, 3 years into what he thought was the most important relationship of his life. He is holding his phone, the screen facing up, a message open, the kind of proof that should end the question. He is not angry. He is confused in a way that is much worse than anger, the kind of confusion that comes from when the floor beneath you keeps changing its mind about whether it's solid. His voice is careful. He has learned to be careful with his voice around her because careless voices, apparently, mean he is being paranoid. He has been told this enough times that he has started pre-correcting himself. Soo-jin, Yuna. This is right here. I'm looking at it. This message is right here on the screen, and I'm not imagining it. And I need you to explain it to me. That's all I need. Pause. I'm not trying to make something out of nothing. She doesn't raise her voice. She never raises her voice. That is one of the things he used to love about her. She was always composed. He has been slowly understanding, in the way you understand things you desperately don't want to understand, that her composure is not the same thing as safety. She sighs. The particular sigh of someone who has decided to be exhausted by you. Yuna. You do this every time. Every time, Soo-jin. You find some little thing, and you turn it into a whole crisis. Because you need there to be a crisis. Because you can't just let things be good. Pause. I can't keep doing this with you. He looks at the message. He looks at her. He looks at the message again. Sujin, I'm not Yuna. I'm not making this into something. It's already something. It's right here. Yuna, quietly, final. You're exhausting. You know that? You are genuinely exhausting to love. She walks away. No slam, no raised voice, no moment that would give him something to hold on to. Just, she walks away. Like the conversation is done because she has decided it's done. He stands there, holding the phone, the evidence still glowing in his hand. And something that should have hardened into certainty he was right. He knows he was right. The proof is right there on the screen. Softens instead into doubt. Into the terrible familiar question. Maybe I am too much. Maybe I am broken in the way she keeps suggesting. Maybe the problem is the way I see things. He believes her instead of his own eyes. He puts the phone away. Back to present. Sujin at the project table. His jaw is tight. He didn't realize his hands had gone still on the blueprint until just now. He also didn't realize he had been staring at Anya. She notices. She doesn't make a thing of it. She just glances at him, brief, calm, no performance of concern. Anya, you okay? Sujin, fine. She nods, doesn't push, goes back to work. That restraint, the not pushing, the asking once and accepting the answer, even when the answer is clearly not the whole truth, is the thing that cracks him. He has been waiting 3 years for someone to push, to demand, to make the asking of him into something he has to fight his way out of. She just lets it be. She asked because she wanted to know, and when he said fine, she believed him the way you believe someone when you're prepared to ask again later if it matters. He doesn't know how to hold that. He doesn't even have a word for how unsettling it is to be given exactly the amount of space you asked for. Walking out of the building together. Late. The kind of together that happens naturally when two people stop pretending they're not occupying the same space. They simply end up at the elevator at the same time and neither of them suggests otherwise. Natural conversation for the first time. Not about the project. Small. Real. She says something about the building they're in, an observation about the lobby's relationship to the street that is both architecturally precise and quietly funny. The kind of thing only someone who looks at buildings the way other people look at faces would notice. He almost laughs. Almost. It gets as far as the corner of his mouth, and then something old and trained intercepts it and pulls it back. The wall goes up fast, smooth, practiced. The expression is neutral again before it finishes becoming anything. She sees it happen. She watches the almost and then the correction. She watches him reassemble himself in real time. She doesn't call it out. She doesn't ask about it. She doesn't do the thing where you make someone's self-protection into a conversation topic without their permission. She just keeps walking, beside him, like the almost was enough, like she is prepared to wait. Sujin is in his office, late afternoon. The light through the windows has gone gold and soft. The kind of light that makes Seoul look like a city that could be gentle if you caught it right. He is reading a contractor report he could have delegated and choosing not to, which is his way of giving himself something neutral to do with his hands. He is also, though he would not say this out loud, thinking about the almost laugh from the night before, turning it over, wondering what it means that a near laugh from a near stranger is the thing currently occupying the background of his mind. Park Ji-ho appears in the doorway. There is a particular quality to his hesitation that Sujin has learned to read as, "The thing I am about to say is something I am not certain you want to hear." Park, Ji-ho. "Carefully, sir," Seo Yuna called the office. "She's back in Seoul. She said she's been back for a few weeks. She heard about the Arts Space Commission. She said," reads from his phone, "she said she'd love to reconnect and catch up, if you're open to it. She left a number." Sujin's expression doesn't change. Not a flinch, not a shift in posture, not the micro-tightening around the eyes that Jiho has learned to look for when something lands wrong. His face does what his face does best. Absolutely nothing that can be used against him. But his hand flat on the desk beside the contractor report presses down, just slightly. The knuckles whiten for half a second, one breath. Then it releases. Sujin, quietly. Thank you, Jiho. That's all. Jiho leaves. The door closes. Sujin sits in the gold afternoon light and does not move for a long time. 3 years. 3 years he spent rebuilding himself from the rubble of a relationship that had taught him, methodically and without ever raising its voice, that he was too much, that his perceptions were broken, that caring about the truth was a pathology, that the damage in the relationship was him, was always him, would always be him. He put the work in, rebuilt the walls, rebuilt the company, rebuilt the version of himself that could sit in a boardroom full of important people and give nothing away and need nothing back. He was proud of that version, in the particular way you're proud of a structure that cost you everything to build. And now the architect of the original damage is back in Seoul, and she heard about his project, and she would love to catch up. The ghost just became real. Stay right here. We're in the storm now. If this story is doing something to you, subscribe to AfroSeoul Cinema, share it with someone who needs to see it, and drop a comment below. We read all of them. Every single one. The next working session, Sujin is back to being the CEO, the full version. Measured, formal, calibrated to a precision that would impress anyone who didn't know what the alternative looked like. He delegates through Anya rather than to her, speaks to the room instead of to her specifically. When she addresses him directly, his answers are technically correct and functionally brief, and missing everything that had quietly begun to accumulate between them over the past weeks. Professional distance. That's what he'd call it if she asked. She doesn't ask. She absorbs it once. She absorbs it twice. The second time she absorbs it, she is slightly quieter than usual afterward, and that silence has a different quality to it, not the comfortable kind, not the working kind. The kind that means someone is recalibrating. Third meeting. Everyone files out. She stays. She waits until the last set of footsteps has faded down the hallway. Then she turns and looks at him. Her voice is even, controlled. Not cold. She doesn't do cold. It's not a register she appears to have, but careful. The careful of someone who has decided that what they are about to say matters enough to say correctly. Anya, what did I do? 3 words. No preamble, no softening. Just the question, asked directly, because she genuinely wants to know and she has decided that she deserves to know. Sujin. Nothing. This is professional distance. Anya. Professional distance doesn't show up warm one week and disappear the next. Pause. That's not distance. That's something else, and we both know it. And a silence. The kind that has a shape to it. Anya. Steady, precise. You don't want to know me, Sujin. Okay. That is genuinely okay. I'm not asking you to want that. I'm not owed that. But I deserve consistency. I deserve not to be treated like a problem you've decided to solve by making me invisible. I'm a person, not a liability. She picks up her portfolio, no drama in it, no performance of leaving. She just picks it up the way you pick up your things when the conversation is done. She leaves. She doesn't slam the door. She doesn't look back. Sujin stands in the empty room. The word liability sits somewhere in the middle of his chest where he can't get to it. He has never thought of her that way. He is only now understanding that she could have no way of knowing that. A gallery opening in Itaewon. Seoul's creative world compressed into one elegant space curators. Installation artists, cultural investors, old money performing its appreciation of new ideas. Sujin is there because the firm has a stake in the building's renovation, and it is useful to be present. He is very good at being present in the way that means nothing. He sees Anya before she sees him. She's across the room, easy, warm, entirely herself, in a crowd that would professionally require most people to perform a version of themselves. She's talking to a sculptor, genuinely laughing at something, her whole face in it. The laugh is not for the room, it's just a laugh. She has no idea he can see her. He watches her for a moment longer than he should. Then Yuna appears at his side. She is exactly as he remembers her, and also, somehow not, polished, composed. Smiling the particular smile of someone who has decided that the past is a room they can walk back into without knocking. She looks at him like nothing happened, and the looking is so confident that for one terrible half-second he almost believes her. Then the half-second passes. Yuna. Warmly, Sujin. You look well. The firm is extraordinary. I saw the Magok commission in the architectural press. You've built something real. Sujin. Thank you. 2 words. Clean. Nothing behind them. He has always been good at 2-word sentences. She leans in slightly, the smile staying exactly where she put it. Yuna, I've missed talking with you. The way we used to. You always saw things so clearly when you let yourself. He looks at her. For the first time in years, he looks at her without the old reflex, without the flinch he spent 18 months pretending he didn't have. Without the instinct to brace himself. He just looks. Something has shifted. The thing she broke in him took years to understand, but he understands it now. And understanding it has changed what her face means to him. The face that used to mean safety, then meant danger, then meant nothing, now means something smaller and quieter, evidence, a record of a time he didn't trust himself. A reminder of how much it cost him to get here. Sujin. Quietly. Final, I don't miss it, Yuna. He walks away, toward Anya's side of the room. But Anya has been watching. She saw Yuna appear beside him. She watched his posture change the way it changes when something you haven't prepared for arrives. She watched his face go through something she couldn't translate from across the room. And she read it the way we read things we can't get close enough to understand properly. She reads it wrong. She thinks whatever was there between them is still there. She thinks she has been working beside a man who is not finished with someone else. She slips out of the gallery early, quietly. He turns to look for her, and she is already gone. Flashback 3. The last night with Yuna. Their apartment. He is standing in the center of the room. He is holding 3 years of evidence, not just the phone, all of it. Every moment where he doubted himself at her suggestion. Every conversation where he was made to feel that his perception of reality was the problem. He knows now. He has known for a while, but tonight, the knowing is no longer deniable. No longer something he can file away in the same drawer as all the other things he decided not to examine. He has been made to feel insane for perceiving things accurately. He understands this now in a way that has no soft edges left. Yuna is by the door. She has her coat on. This is already decided, wherever she is concerned. Yuna, composed, very quiet, final. You were always too fragile for me. I think we both knew that. The door closes. She doesn't look back. She doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't give him a fight to hold on to. Just the door. Then, silence. He doesn't move. He stays in the center of the room where she left him. The room is very quiet. The city goes on outside like nothing significant just happened, because outside it did not. Back to present. Sujin standing in the empty gallery space where Anya was just standing, the party going on around him. her absence landing like something with physical weight. He goes to the project site, late, after 11. He tells himself on the drive over that this is professional a question about the east wall, a timeline issue, something that can't wait. He is not a man who goes to see people at 11 at night for professional reasons. He knows this. He goes anyway. She's there. He knew she would be. She works late when she's troubled, and she was troubled when she left the gallery. He could see it from across the room in the set of her shoulders as she walked out. She's alone. Blueprints spread under the portable work light. The city through the unfinished windows behind her. The space still smelling of raw material and possibility. She doesn't look surprised to see him. She doesn't look pleased either. He starts to speak. She looks at him for a moment. Then, Anya, I'm not her, Sujin. He stops. Anya, I don't know who she is. I don't know her name. I don't know what happened. I don't know any of the story, except that something in that story is the reason you went warm and then cold on me in the span of a week. And I'm not her. I want to be very clear about that. Whatever she did, I am not her. Sujin, I know that. I'm not. Anya, quietly, you pulled away the second she called the office. Beat. Don't tell me that's nothing. Don't do that to me. Silence. A long one. The kind that costs something. Anya. Steady. Each word placed carefully. I deserve directness. I have always deserved directness from you, and I have been trying to give you the same. If you don't want this, whatever this is, whatever it's been becoming, you say that. Look me in the eye and say it, and I will hear you, and I will finish this project professionally, and we will move on. I can do that. I'm an adult, and I can do that. A pause. She's not finished. Anya, but don't go cold on me and then show up here at 11 o'clock at night and expect me to still be waiting like I have really reaches, in the way that costs something or he loses her. Not to someone else. Just to the version of himself that has gotten so good at protecting its own interior that it has forgotten the protection was supposed to serve something. The reckoning. The truth. The resolution. The first time. He has never said any of this out loud to anyone. Not to the friend from university he still has lunch with twice a year and tells nothing important. Not to his mother, who would grieve it. Not to his architects, who trust him with buildings and assume the solidity is constitutional. Not to a therapist. There was a number on his desk months ago, put there quietly by Jiho, who notices more than he's ever been asked to notice. And Sujin opened it, looked at it, and filed it under later. He is standing in a half-finished building at 11:20 at night, and the woman in front of him just said, I will not start with you, and meant it, and he is out of moves. Every move he has the silence, the distance, the professional facade, the strategic retreat, every single one of them has been named and refused. She has not done this unkindly. She has done it the way she does everything, directly, clearly, without making him feel small for being caught. He takes a breath. He sets down the thing he picked up at the door that he didn't need. Something to do with his hands, and he tells the truth. Sujin. Her name was Yuna. We were together for 3 years. Pause. I thought I was in love with her. I think I probably was. I also think I've been trying to figure out how to say this in a way that doesn't make me sound like I'm making excuses. I think she spent a long time making sure I didn't trust myself. Not loudly. She was never loud about it. But when I knew something, when I was certain of something, she would find a way to make the certainty into evidence of my instability. Like being right about a thing was proof that I was broken for noticing it. He stops. His hands are still. She is still. The city hums somewhere below them. Soyin. Quietly, I stopped knowing what was real. Not all the way. I'm not saying I lost my mind. I'm saying I stopped trusting the version of events that my own eyes gave me. And that takes a long time to come back from. I saw her tonight at the gallery, and something old came back up. Something I thought I'd stops. Something I hadn't finished with as much as I thought I had. He looks at Anya. His face is doing something unfamiliar. Something unguarded. Something that cost him to allow. So-yin, I took it out on you. Because you were a long pause. Like he's trying to find the most honest version of this. Because you were the person it was safest to take it out on. Because you're steady. Because you'd see through the distance without making it into a war. And that is exactly as wrong as it sounds, and I know that. I knew it while I was doing it. You treated me like I was worth being direct with. And I didn't know how to hold that. That probably sounds insane. Anya is quiet. Not the waiting kind of quiet, the kind that means she heard him. All of it. Without editing it into something easier to receive. Anya, softly. It doesn't sound insane. She doesn't hug him. She doesn't rush to close the distance between them. She doesn't become medicine. She doesn't do the thing where the man speaks his damage and the woman's job becomes absorbing it. She just stays. Present, still, here. And that staying, that quiet, unannounced, choosing to remain in the same room with his truth rather than around it or above it or at a careful professional distance from it that is the whole story. That is the thing he has been waiting for without the language to name what he was waiting for. He has been surrounded for years by people who maintain careful distance. He has maintained it himself. He got so good at it he forgot it was a strategy rather than a state of being. She just stands here in a half-built room at 11 at night and she stays. The morning after. No dramatic declaration. No sweep. No moment with music in it that tells the audience how to feel. Something smaller and more true. They are back at the project site, working. The blueprints between them the same as they always are. The junior architects are in and out. There is coffee. There is natural light coming off the site now in the morning instead of a work lamp, which changes how the space reads, and both of them notice this at the same moment and glance at each other and glance away. But something is different. He is present now. Actually present, not performing it, not maintaining the calculated proximity of a man who has decided to allow a professional relationship in strictly metered doses. He is just here, in the room, working beside her the way you work beside someone when you are not spending any effort managing your own interior. He makes a design call on the skylight placement, a call he's been thinking about for 3 days. He looks at the blueprint. Then he does something that none of the junior architects have ever seen him do in a working session. He looks up at her and waits. So-yin, what do you think? Not delegating, not checking a box, not the rhetorical version that means he has already decided and is offering the room a courtesy. The real version. The version that means her answer will change what he does next. The junior architects pretend to be busy with their laptops. Anya looks at the blueprint. She takes her time. She always takes her time. Then she looks at him. Anya, I think it has soul. The corner of his mouth. The very beginning of a smile. Almost. Almost is enough. It is more than enough. It is more than he has offered anyone in this building in longer than he can quickly calculate. And it is real. And it is his. Sujin, his office. The sole skyline behind him doing what it always does, moving, building, erasing itself, and beginning again. The afternoon light falling at the particular angle that makes the city look briefly like it is made of something softer than concrete and glass. He sits at his desk for a long moment, not reviewing anything, not on the phone, not performing the busyness that has been one of his primary methods of not being present in his own life for the better part of 4 years. He picks up his phone. He opens a contact. His thumb moves slowly. The therapist's number that Jiho left on his desk months ago, he never opened it then. He set it aside in the same way he set aside everything soft carefully, at a distance, where it couldn't ask anything of him. He told himself he didn't need it. He told himself he had it handled. He told himself a lot of things, and he is good at telling himself things in a way that stays convincing for longer than it should. He stares at the number, the city behind him, his own face in the black reflection of his phone screen when the screen goes dark, and then he turns it back on. It yells. The line rings. He waits. He didn't heal because she loved him. He healed because she refused to let him disappear. Stay with this feeling. This story was made for everyone who has ever been made to doubt their own eyes, for everyone who has ever been called too much, for everyone who stayed present for someone finding their way back to themselves. If it stayed with you, subscribe to AfroSeoul Cinema, share it, come back. We have more stories waiting. AfroSeoul Cinema, where two worlds meet and neither has to disappear. This story is written by AfroSeoul Cinema, an original production. All characters are fictional.